President Trump's freeze of federal grants has been taken off the table, but the action from his budget office came without explanation this afternoon.
And it coincides with a job buyout offer to nearly 2 million civilian federal employees, and the deportation of undocumented migrants continues across the country. This announcement follows legal challenges and confusion across America about the funding pause.
Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp is standing by with the very latest tonight from the U.S. Capitol. Rachel, good evening.
Good evening, Mike and Eva. Yeah, this has been such a quick reversal from that White House office. Senators that I spoke with leading up to this reversal saying that their phones were just ringing off the hook from like nonprofits, families, businesses, people who would have been impacted by this federal freeze. And now they're saying there's even more whiplash now that this reversal, or now the White House has reversed this.
In just a matter of days, the Trump White House rescinds a memo directing agencies to temporarily freeze federal aid and grants. On Monday, the White House Office of Management and Budget sent a memo to federal agencies to pause funding for trillions of dollars in grants and loans. In that memo, it said last fiscal year, the government spent more than $3 trillion for federal assistance, such as grants and loans. The memo goes on to say this temporary pause will provide the administration time to review agency programs and determine the best uses of the funding for those programs consistent with the law and the president's priorities. That caused a lot of confusion for nonprofits, schools, and anyone that receives this kind of aid if they were included in this freeze. The White House had to later clarify things like Social Security and Medicaid would not be impacted. On Tuesday, a handful of states' attorney generals announced they were suing the Trump administration, arguing he doesn't have that kind of authority to do that, and a federal judge temporarily paused Trump's funding freeze for a few days. And on Wednesday afternoon, the White House acting director for the Office of Management and Budget told agencies that the memo for freezing aid has been rescinded. In a social media post, the White House press secretary says this is not a rescission of the federal funding freeze. It is simply a rescission of the OMB memo. She also adds the president's executive order on federal funding remain in full force in effect and will be rigorously implemented. The press secretary could be referencing Trump's executive orders last week that told agencies to review and eliminate spending on so-called woke ideologies.
Now, Mike and Eva, Democrats on the Hill say that this reversal has already put some nonprofits and others impacted by that freeze already kind of hurt them or put them in disarray. Other reporting on the Hill suggests that some Senate Republicans, might acknowledge that the initial memo might have generated a little too much political heat for that funding freeze. Mike and Eva, back to you.